futures trading in whatever market you trade, you have to learn how to end on a good note. Not a high note, not when you start to feel invincible and you start to feel super successful and you have this traders don't lose because they don't know how to make money. You know how to trade. They lose because they don't know how to stop making trades. You just don't know when to stop trading. And that's what this specific video is going to be all about. If you're interested in hearing what I have to say, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video, because we're not talking about entries, we're not talking about strategies, we're not talking about indicators or charts, because you already know how to trade. It's about learning where to stop. I often hear this with my students in application after application for my coaching. So it's about learning where to stop, and more importantly, learning why thus far you might have refused to stop and you just feel like you just can't stop. There's this invisible pull that's been pulling you into trades. I'm gonna break this video down into sections. This first section is titled "The Skill That Nobody Talks About." You have to watch the whole video to get the full idea. But there is a skill that nobody talks about in trading. It is not risk management, although I make videos on that too. I think it's super important, but it's also not discipline. It's not patience. I've made videos about all of these things, but what's so much more important is the ability to stop trading when you're already in profit. I don't really ever see traders that don't know how to trade. It's that they make a lot of money, they make profit, and it sounds really ridiculous, but then they just lose it all. And most accounts weren't blown just from already losing. They were blown from winning. You blow an account means you're losing money. You can't lose money you didn't make. So you made money and then you went and lost it. So people are making money. It's happening every single day. And then they're giving that money back to the market. And sometimes a little bit more than you would like to. Then you make more and then you give that back too. So eventually what's going to happen is you hit a drawdown that is so deep and you collapse psychologically and you start to force trades to get that money go back green. We're going to avoid all this, because the real question is not how do I make money, because you already have a strategy and you already know how to make money because you already know how to trade. The question is, how do I keep myself from undoing what I already made in the market? How do I keep the profit that I have already secured? The profit that's already mine? And the answer is not more rules. The answer is not more willpower. You cannot willpower yourself to securing more money. The answer is not more motivation and more speeches and more talks. It's about learning the one skill nobody talks about, which is learning how to end on a good note. I can make 50 videos about this one topic, but we're going to go into section number 2 to break it down a little more deeply, which is money is the reward, not your ego. If we are being really brutally honest, most of you are not trading for money. You might think you are. You might be telling yourself you are, but you're not. You're trading for emotional resolution. It sounds like a big word, but you're just trying to resolve your emotions through trading, right? You're trading to feel an emotion. You're trying to feel right. You're trying to feel smart. You're trying to feel powerful. You're trying to redeem yourself, feel like you're in control. And that's why you don't stop, because you need to resolve that emotion and you're choosing to do it through trading. And when you stop trying to trade, it feels like you're quitting on the emotion that you're trying to resolve. And stopping feels like a literal weakness. Stopping feels like you're leaving something on the table, which is not true. Because your bills, the expenses you're required to pay every single month, do not care about any of that at all. Your landlord does not accept confidence as a form of payment. Chase, Amex, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, no credit card company is going to accept good intentions. Oh, I tried to keep my profit. I tried. No, the grocery store, Publix and Kroger are not going to accept vibes as a form of payment. They take money, they take dollars. So in trading, I want you to remember that trading is not about anything else besides money being the reward. So every time you keep trading, after you said you would stop, you are choosing ego over income. That's it. So that's the trade you're actually making. The third section I want to discuss is that trading is 180 degrees of what feels good. 180 degrees means reverse. So here's what most people get wrong in trading. Most traders, they try to trade the way that most people live. In life, optimism is rewarded. Positive thinking helps you. It keeps you in a good spirit, a good vibration, a good frequency, right? You want to focus on the things that motivate you, and you want to focus on that silver lining, the sunset, right? In life, being pessimistic feels very toxic, but in trading, it's literally the opposite. And when I learned this actually in business, but I applied it to trading and it works here too. Because if you try to be optimistic in trading, you're going to die. If you think every trade's gonna work in your favor, you're gonna die. If you ignore the downside in trading, you're gonna die. If you only focus on what could go right, you're going to die. This is how business works too. So in trading, survival comes from pessimism, not emotional pessimism of thinking negative about yourself, not being depressive or whatever. It comes from structural pessimism. If you don't know what that means, look it up. The constant awareness of what could go wrong. And I'm going to tell you from experience as an active trader, it feels very bad. It feels restrictive. It feels like somebody's telling you what to do. And that's the point why we want to trade, for freedom, right? But when we have to use this type of logic to make money, it feels limiting and restrictive. But that's why it works. It's literally why it works. So I'm going to explain this deeply. In section number 4, why pessimism feels wrong. Okay? Most of you subconsciously reject pessimism, which is okay because we're taught that we need to have good thoughts, good vibrations, whatever. And the reason why you do this is because you associate it with negativity, because that's what we're taught to do. You think that if I focus on the downside, then I'll manifest losses. I used to think like this before I was profitable. No, if you ignore the downside, you guarantee your losses. And I need you to write that down. There's a very big difference, because in trading, pessimism is not a mindset. It's not a negative mindset. It's not a mindset at all. It's an account survival tool. Your account will blow up if you do not think like this, or if you keep rejecting thinking like this. If you keep rejecting it, it's gonna happen, right? It's the thing that tells you, I'm made in trading. Pessimism says, I'm aware of what I could lose. They're the same side. They're two different sides of the same coin. So they both lead to the same behavior, which is stopping. Doesn't matter what side of the coin you use. If you use either side, you're gonna stop. If you're grateful for what you made, you stop. If you're aware of how fragile your profits are, then you stop, especially when you understand that if you haven't sent that money to your bank account, it's still not realized. But they only work together. Those two things only work together because you cannot be grateful and reckless at the same time. You cannot be pessimistic and overconfident at the same time. I get comments on my YouTube channel all the time. I lost money because I was overconfident. That can't exist with that at the same time. The next thing I want to talk about is why you can't stop trading when you're already up. You already made money and you can't stop. This is really the real problem, and I want to talk about this because why can't you stop when you're green? If you've already made money, why can't you stop? And I hear it all the time as the word greed. I used to call it greed. It's not really greed. It's attachment to feeling like you're winning. And you can't feel like you're winning if you stop. You're attached to feeling of being in sync with the market. You're attached to the feeling of being right. You're attached to the feeling of today is my day. I'm making so much money. You never want that feeling to stop. So you keep trading. Eventually the market will close anyways. So if the market's going to close anyways, then you're going to have to stop at some point. But even when the quality of a setup drops, even when your emotional state is going to shift, and even when your rules say that you should stop, you don't stop because it feels too good to stop. And that's exactly why you should stop. Some people think there's never enough. And this is the part that nobody really wants to hear, but I'm going to say it anyways, is that there's never enough in trading. No amount of money will ever make you feel complete. If you make $500 today, you'll want $1,000 on your next trade. If you make $1,000, you'll make $2,500 on your next trade. If you make $5,000, then you'll just simply want $10,000 on the next trade. That desire is never going to end. Don't you understand that? So if you don't consciously set your own limits, which means to think about it, consciously set your own limits, the market will set them for you and charge you market tuition for the hassle. It will. And it's going to set them violently and charge you market tuition for that. And you don't want to pay market tuition when you already know how to trade. So the hidden reason that you overtrade, I want to discuss this too. You do not overtrade because you love trading. You overtrade because you do not trust yourself to be done and to stay off the charts. You think when you close the charts, you'll probably open them back up. You don't actually believe within you that was enough for today. You actually believe I should make more while it's working, because tomorrow there might not be a setup. Next week there might not be a setup. If I'm making money now, I gotta stay in and make more money. And this is the belief that is going to literally kill you, because markets don't care about your momentum. This happy-go-lucky ride that you're on, they don't care. They don't care that you're feeling hot. They don't care that you're locked in. They don't care. They will flip on you whenever they feel like it. And especially if you're feeling hot, feeling all this stuff, you're not going to see it when the flip is there. You're going to be blinded. So don't blind yourself. Ending on a good note means this. You stop while you still feel good. You don't stop when you feel euphoric and your ego is on 1,000,000 and you're on cloud 10, right? Not when you feel invincible and like you're Superman or Superwoman. You just quit when you feel satisfied and you feel good and you feel calm and you feel neutral. This is something this is something a lot of people can't even do in their real lives, because that emotional state is the one thing that is going to carry you forward cleanly into your next trades. That's the state you want to start tomorrow from. You do not want to start trading that next trade or that next trading day from hype and desperation and regret and all these other things, because guess what? You're going to lose your money. And like I said before, your account balance is not your money until you send it to your bank account. It's not realized yet. So this is why this is a psychological skill. It has nothing to do with money at all. It has everything to do with identity. Who are you when things are going really well? When you've had 4 wins in a row? Are you someone who can actually stop and actually decide to not trade that next day to give yourself a break to breathe? Or do you always push? Do you always need to brute force, right? That answer to that question is going to determine your equity curve, aka how much money you leave with as your P&L at the end of the month. Your bills do not take ego as a payment. And I'm going to say it again because it matters. And I don't want to say it once and let it slip. Your bills do not take ego as transaction. You can feel like a genius and still be broke. I see it. You can feel like you crushed it and still give it all back tomorrow. The only thing that matters is what you keep. The only thing that matters is the amount of money that is in your P&L at the end of the week and at the end of the month. I want to talk about the real definition of discipline. Discipline is not taking trades. Discipline is stopping. Discipline is not brute forcing it when you know you need to stop. And that's the part that you might not want to practice and you might not feel like it's necessary for you, because stopping, again, feels like weakness. It feels like you're leaving money on the table. But what you're actually leaving on the table is future loss. You're literally just leaving your losses on the table and taking your money. Wouldn't you want to do that? And I want to explain why this is so hard. And it's hard because trading is going to hijack your dopamine. Winning feels amazing if you let it. Being right feels amazing if you let it. I had to stop letting those things feel amazing to me. Seeing green numbers feels amazing. I don't even have colors on my trading platforms. I turned all of it to white, black, and gray, right? Because what happens is when you see all of those things, your brain doesn't want that to end. It invents and convinces you to have reasons to keep trading. I've heard it from the mouth of my students. It's still a good setup. I'm in the zone. I can make more. I'm already on momentum. Those are not rational thoughts. Those are dopamine protective thoughts. So your body and your brain can keep rolling on dopamine. But actually, the reward is money. You don't need eco or dopamine. You need the money. So this is the survival reframe I want to give you. That's going to probably likely change everything if you want to apply it. Your job is not to make money in trading. Your job is to survive. Simply, your money that you make, money is the byproduct of survival. And every time you protect your account, you win. You're not leaving money on the table, you're leaving your losses on the table. Here is a practical application where you may have been waiting for. Here's what this actually looks like in practice. Imagine this. So you make money, you start to feel good, and then you stop. That's it. There's not much else to it, and then you can bank the money and go spend it. Not, I want to take one more trade. I need $1 more. I'll reduce my risk so that I can just convince myself I should keep trading. If I'm not risking as much as I usually do, I'm being safe. It's not that you're just gonna watch it and wait to enter. You're just gonna keep looking at the charts. No, just close the laptop and stop. And why gratitude fixes overtrading is because it's a mechanical thing. It is spiritual, but it is also mechanical. Gratitude literally says, this is enough. That sentence alone would save most accounts and could literally save every blown account from never happening to you in the future, or at least reduce them by 50 to 75%. The truth I want you to hear is you do not need more trades. You need better trades. You need better endings to your trades. That's something you really should work towards in this year of 2026. And I put together a private training that you can watch right now. It is the first link in the description box. I show you how to actually set up real stopping points that actually work, that you can walk away with 3 things you can implement immediately to your trading to apply everything you just watched in this video. So one good day doesn't turn into a drawdown. Join me there and I'll walk you through the full lesson for free. Once we walk through the free lesson, I'll also show you how to do this for yourself every single day, and you'll be able to learn how to implement this for yourself for real forever. So learn how to end on a good note, and it will change your entire trading life. 2 traders can look at exactly the same chart, the exact same candles, but one pulls out money and the other one is giving the market money. They're going into debt, or they're just simply walking away empty-handed. And it's not the market's fault. So let me show you something really quick that flipped the way that I personally trade, because there's a line in Proverbs that talks about, it's Proverbs 23:13 or 23:11. I think it's 23:13, where it talks about a poor man's farm may produce much food, but injustice sweeps it all away. And you don't really have to be religious to understand the wisdom here. So I want to just break this down, because even in the fitness term, right, I have a personal trainer, and my personal trainer has taught me a lot about how to get to my specific aesthetic goals for my body. But it's like, there might be someone else in my group, right, in my personal training, like group coaching, whatever, and I am getting the results that I want, but the other person is not getting what they want, right? Same thing, going to the same market, same candles, one person wins, one person doesn't. Same thing with this. We go to the same coaching program, eat the same things, right? But I am actually getting the goals that I want, but they're not. In that case, it's most likely because of the way that they actually do the other half, which is the working out portion. So if we're both eating the same things, we have the same coach, we know we're both eating well, but I work out and they don't. Guess what? It doesn't matter what else is the same. We're going to get two different results. And that's really the point, is that food is not the issue. It's the actual consistency behind how the person uses the food. Because I'm using the nutrition to my purpose of getting the body that I want. But what they're doing is they're eating and then they're not using the nutrition, and now they're probably gaining weight, or they're just maintaining weight, looking the same, or looking worse, or feeling worse. So that one person, so that's me, I'm taking advantage of the whole system, the whole program, doing exactly what my coach tells me to do, and then they're kind of half doing it, and they're getting their half results. So think about the Proverbs verse again, right? It talks about the farm. In this aspect, the market of trading is your farm. Every single day, it produces enough opportunity, because it produces trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars circulating every single day. And somebody winning does not mean that you make less money. That's not how trading works. You cannot afford to believe that. One of the myths about trading is that, oh, well, we're fighting against these buyers and sellers, and if I win, then they lose, and if they lose, I win. It doesn't work that way. That's not how the markets work, and you cannot afford to be believing that, because if you believe that, you're going to set yourself up to lose so much more than you need to, because that's not how it works. How it actually works is like a farm, right? You go in, you can harvest whatever you need to, and then guess what? Everybody else gets to harvest whatever they need to. My land doesn't contradict your land, and your land doesn't contradict my land. Everybody's land is different. The point that I'm making here is that most traders do not fail because the market is unfair. They lose and they fail, or they quit before their first year is even up, because they never build the thing that can collect the opportunity. Okay, that's the difference. Think about it. If you're working out, copy how I analyze candlesticks, then my watch and learn playlist will definitely be for you. So that is basically how you turn all the nutrients from the food into muscle and to being ripped and shredded. It's the same thing. Use all of your market to extract the opportunity it gives you every single day. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Most traders end every single trade the same way. You check your P&L, you check if it's green or red, you check if it was a win or loss, and then you move on with your day. And that's the problem, because money tells you nothing. It does not tell you anything. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why your P&L and money at the end of the day does not tell you anything. It tells you nothing about who is actually in control. And there's one actionable thing you can do to change this right now. So after every trade, ask yourself, did I trade as the version of myself that I respect, or did I trade as the version of myself that wanted relief? So I'm going to explain what relief means, but this question makes you very uncomfortable, or it should make you uncomfortable, because it removes the hiding places. A win does not protect you in your trading. Relief trading is when you take a loss and you think you're going into the next trade or the next trading day calm and controlled and professional, you know what you're doing, but really you're just trying to find relief, because underneath it's driven by urgency. You need to feel okay again. You need to prove to yourself that that loss wasn't part of your identity, and that you need to prove yourself that you know how to trade. You need to prove yourself that you can escape a certain discomfort that you may have had from taking a previous loss. But I'm here to tell you, the most dangerous trades are relief trades that win. Because if you win that trade where you're trying to get money back, it reinforces behavior that eventually destroys your consistency. Identity aligned trades often feel very boring because they do not give you any dopamine. They don't validate your ego. They don't make you feel heroic. Oh, I broke through. I know how to trade. None of that is there. There's no arrogance that comes from it. They just compound, and money is the reward. Honestly, when you're a trader, money should be your reward. But it's more about something deeper, because most traders evaluate their performance based on the outcome. Did I win or did I lose? But those who are consistent long term evaluate based on behavior. Who was I trading as? That's literally the question. Who was in charge here? Was it my logic or was it my emotion? Was it structure or was it impulse? And you have to ask yourself these deeper questions because the answer can really lie very deep. But most traders avoid this because it's honest without a reward. There is no dopamine. There is no external validation. There is no feeling like you're the best trader on earth. There's none of that. It's just about the truth. But identity drives behavior. And until your identity is addressed, strategy is not going to change anything. And if you do change your strategy, it's not going to last. The practice and the backtesting and the journaling is not going to fix your trading. It doesn't fix your trading. It aligns behavior with who you say you want to be as a trader. And that alignment is what creates the consistency. So if you've noticed that you're a trader who already knows how to trade, yet you still keep blowing accounts, I want to invite you into watching the private training in the description. It is the first link in the description because this is not a flaw. This happens to almost every trader and is a part of your journey that I don't hear talked about a lot, and I invite you to watch that training. I want you to comment down below, have you ever avoided asking yourself this question? You may have thought about it, but you have avoided wanting to answer this question because you thought ending the day green or ending the week green or ending the month green meant more than your behavior. I definitely want to hear that. I'll be down there in the comments reading your stories, but also responding, so I'll see you there. You might just think that your losses are always the market's fault, from the news to volatility to the reversals and all that stuff. But the brutal truth is that even the most perfect setup that's waiting right there with 600% gains, waiting for you to just snatch it right up, can still be completely messed up. And most traders don't even realize that. So chasing after better setups, better strategies, and better indicators may not be the problem, because I see it every single day with students who are legitimately intelligent in trading. They know how to trade. They know their setups and their risk. They know their trading math. It's all there. And yet they keep blowing accounts. The reason why is because the trade itself is not the problem. It's how they approach it internally. And by the end of this video, you're going to see why any trade, no matter how clean, how A+, how perfect it is, can still be ruined, and what to do instead of just throwing more money at it. If you want to hear what I have to say on this topic, make sure to subscribe to this channel and smash the like button so that you don't miss other videos like this. And if you want to take this topic deeper, I have a private training you can watch for free. It's the first link in the description box. I'm going to break this video down into parts. Part number 1, the market is not your enemy. The market doesn't care about you. I'm so sorry, but it's not out to get you. The reality is most traders are going to blame the market anyways. But if you actually think about it, every single loss you've ever had, doesn't matter how many of them, but were they all because of the market? Sure, some news hit that you weren't aware of. There were some setups that were invalidated, but the majority of blown trades and losses are you. It's your behavior. It's your approach. It's your internal state. And I want you to take a second and really consider that. Any trade you make, perfect or not, can be ruined if your brain is in the wrong place. And the part that shocks people is that you can know how to trade and still be in the wrong state. That's when the greenest trades turn red. And that's when your discipline is going to collapse. And when you justify just one more trade or justify over leveraging. Part number 2 on why your internal state is going to change everything for you, because it changed everything for me. I call it your internal state. And what I mean is the way that your brain feels and reacts while trading. Are you focused? Are you calm? Are you neutral? Are you carrying on frustration? Agreed. There's some boredom, fear from the last trade. It doesn't matter, but even one tiny misalignment in your state is enough to blow a trade. It doesn't matter how perfect it is. You can see all of the signals and the math and the risk, and it will not matter if your brain and your mind is not aligned. You will make decisions you don't even notice until after the fact. But most traders don't even stop to check this. They trade because they know how. You know how to trade. They think that's enough. You know how to read a chart. You think that's enough. But the thing is, knowing how to trade is not the same thing as trading with intention. And so if you keep thinking your losses are the market, you're never going to get this. You're always going to blind yourself and feel like, oh, it's the market's fault. You're never going to actually want to look at this. But the market is a mirror of your internal state. And every loss is a reflection of the trader that you brought to the market. And the myth of fixing the loss, which is part 3. This is where most people get trapped, because you take a loss and your first thought is, I need to get this money back. So you add more money to your account, or you push your leverage, or you reset your account and you push harder and you chase setups. And the worst part is that you feel like this is logical, because it is, because you already know how to trade. So why wouldn't you go, if you know how to trade, why wouldn't you just go back and try again? But the problem is you think you can brute force it. And that's exactly the wrong approach, because more money does not fix a misaligned internal state. Money can't fix that. Continuing a trade doesn't fix that. Trading again doesn't fix that. All those things do is stack more mistakes on top of the first one. And the kicker, really the funny part, the better you get at trading, the easier it is to lie to yourself, because you can see the setup, you know the math, you've done this before, you've made profitable trades. You can rationalize literally everything. You can literally rationalize something that's completely misaligned. And that's where even the most profitable strategies are going to fail, when your state is not aligned. I made a video about the 2 types of losses. There's only 2 types of losses. A loss is either the market invalidating a perfect setup, or it was you breaking the rules. There's only 2 types of losses. The critical insight is that neither of them are fixed by taking another trade. None of them are fixed by adding more money or reducing or increasing your risk. Your job is not to fix those trades. Your job is to align yourself before the next trade. And in that video, I go deeply into how to do specific solutions for both types of losses, because they're not the same. You might be trying to fix one type of loss with a different type of solution, and it's never going to work. So watch that video to know what strategy to use for what type of loss. But market is literally a probabilistic environment. Nothing is broken in the market. The companies and industries and the institutions making multi-million dollars every day don't care about your 10K month. They're not trying to get you out of the game. Nothing needs to be fixed, because nothing is broken. And when you lose, actually nothing needs to be restored. The only thing that matters is your action over time. And that starts with you, not your trades. Part number 5, how to actually start aligning. So how do you stop blowing accounts even when you know how to trade? You start by checking your internal state before mentally, physically, emotionally. You ask yourself very simple questions. Am I trading because I want money? Am I trading because I need validation? Or because I'm bored? Or because I'm calm? Or actually, I feel really neutral. I'm just ready to execute my plan. Because if you're not aligned, don't touch the charts, even if the setup is perfect, because you will mess it up and you will leave your money on the table. You'll leave profit on the table. You'll make profit and go give it back. And even if that opportunity seems huge, you're so much better off waiting until you feel neutral, because it's cheaper to trade that way. It's a very expensive problem I'm solving on this channel. And this is not about discipline. It's about structural alignment. It's about actual structure. And your nervous system will guide your success, or it can guide your failures if you let it. But if you want me to walk you through the exact framework my students use, and I use it too, to stay aligned, stop overtrading, I want you to check out the free private training that's linked in my description box. It's the first link in there. For part number 6, we're going to discuss some common internal traps. We're going to talk about some red flags. You can watch this video for the top 10 red flags of traders who are about to blow their account. Here's what I see every single day. Traders who are experienced and know how to trade, but still blow accounts because they ignore internal flags. Though number 1 is emotional entanglement from previous trades, 2, overconfidence after a green day or a green week and you ignore risk, you risk everything. Number 3 is frustration after a loss and trying to go get it back immediately. Number 4, being ego-driven, having ego-driven trading, proving that you're right instead of trying to prove yourself you can follow the rules. And number 5 is lack prioritization. You are trading for excitement, not strategy. You actually care more about these opportunities instead of your profit. That's just a summary. I recommend you go watch the 10 red flags video. But if you recognize those flags in yourself, when they pop up, you can actually change them in real time. And that is where your P&L actually starts to show the trader you actually want to be. The truth is so simple that any trade can be messed up if your internal state is off. It doesn't matter. The most profitable traders succeed not because they're smarter or luckier, succeed because we can control ourselves. We can control the thing that matters the most, and that is ourself. So we're going to stop blaming ourselves and we're going to start just observing ourselves and catch ourselves in real time. If this video hit home for you, I have the free private training that walks you through the exact alignment steps, the exact checks, alignments, and frameworks that my students use to stop overtrading and start trading as a neutral trader. The link is in the description, and I invite you to watch it right now. It's a very short video, about 15 minutes. Grab a snack and watch it before the day is over. Engineering your wins in trading. My last video about red flags that quietly destroy your trading account. This video is the other half of that conversation, because it's one thing to see a problem and it's a totally different thing to actually install a solution to that problem. And most traders hear the word neutral and they think it's a personality trait, and it's just not. Like, you really think I'm just not emotional, I'm naturally calm, I'm wired for this, I'm made different, I'm built different. And that is literally not how it works. Neutrality is how your system is built. And if your system is built incorrectly, there's no amount of discipline. Hear this, there's no amount of discipline or mindset talk that will save you. In my last video, I talked about red flags like emotional wins, brushing off your losses, trading to feel something, urgency after drawdown. That's all I'm gonna say here. You need to watch that video in detail. Again, it is linked here up in the corner. Now, those things are not character flaws. They are signals that your structure is missing. In this video, I'm going to talk exactly what that actually means and show you how neutral traders actually build neutrality as a skill, and it's not something that you have to force. It just becomes the default. It becomes who you are, right? So the first step is neutrality is created by math first, not mindset. Math over mindset. And this is where people get this so backwards, because they think they can think their way to being calm. A lot of traders tell themselves, I'm not going to revenge trade. I'm going to stay disciplined. I'm going to stick to a plan. But if your sizing is wrong, if you're leveraging too much money, if you think that having margin or having access to margin or leverage automatically makes you think that you'll be able to handle it, you're wrong. Because your nervous system is going to override that mindset every single time. It doesn't matter what you're thinking in your head. Your nervous system is going to overshadow that. So if one loss feels really heavy, if one red shifts your entire mindset, if one bad trade makes you feel really bad, that is not emotional weakness. There's no way to discipline yourself through that. It's just that your risk is too big for your nervous system. And neutral traders don't feel calm because we're special. We feel calm because one trade cannot hurt us emotionally or structurally. So the first way that neutrality is built is so simple. Your sizing of your trades so small that urgency cannot exist. So if urgency is possible, neutrality is impossible. That is what I want you to remember with step one. Now, step two, you want to design your account so nothing needs to be fixed. This ties directly to the red flags video that you can watch here. One of the biggest problems I talked about in that video is the need to bounce back. The feeling of, I need to get this money back. I need to fix what I just did. And neutral traders, we just don't feel that feeling. It's not because we don't care about money. I personally care about my P&L a lot, my monthly P&L specifically, but it's because our structure never actually creates a hole in our trading. So we don't allow one trade to put us behind or damage our confidence or trigger urgency or change our behavior. We just design our system so that losses are already absorbed emotionally. And that is not discipline. It is architecture. It's literally engineering your wins in trading. So if your account design requires emotional strength to survive, it's not designed for consistency. because you're a human. I hope that didn't go over your head. If your account design requires you to be emotionally strong to survive, it's not designed for consistency. So here's step 3. You treat your internal state like your edge. This is honestly where advanced traders are separated, because in being a neutral trader, you don't just check the charts. We check ourselves. We know that if I'm tired, I'm not neutral. If I'm rushing, I'm not neutral. If I'm stressed, I'm not neutral. We understand there can't be overlapping or incoherent things. We understand that if I'm emotionally charged, I'm not neutral. And so we just don't trade. It's not